everybody. Welcome to Beyond Bricks. I am Kevin Stewart, and I am joined today in studio. This is our first time coming in the studio, and I'm super pumped. I got EJ Swanson with me, who's actually the owner, I guess. We'll call you owner of Bolt Creative. So this is the company. This is the face. This is the guy behind the camera work, working the team. Not really. We've got another guy behind the camera, but he likes to stay behind the camera. Maybe we'll get him out of here one of these days.
I think we should.
I think we should. It'd be kind of fun. But as he puts his head down. But so we're doing in studio today, and I'm super excited to be doing some episodes in here. I'm already been in planning. I've been in conversations with probably 10 people already that have said they'd like to come onto the show. I think they've got some great potential content to bring and some cool stories that we want to share with the world. But I felt it was appropriate to make sure that our first guest in season 2 is EJ, because I'm not sitting here if it's not for EJ. I'm not sitting here if it's not for the opportunity that EJ has given me to do this with him. Because I look at this as a partnership. I don't look at this as anything beyond that. This is a partnership and a business partnership because it's me and you. And the amount of advice and things that you've already given to us and provided is incredible. So first, I just want to say thank you. I want to say thank you for the opportunity to work with you guys because you're crushing it. And I'm super happy with the work and the products that you provided to us and the value, the massive value that you provided to us, not just from the podcasting side, but also to our company. I'm already seeing the value you guys have provided. So just wanted to say thank you for that. So I want to start with actually just kind of reliving. I touched on this in the first episode, but reliving how this started.
Yeah.
Because I think that's what I want them to, the audience to hear first. And it started with, and I alluded in the first episode about the power of positive thinking and the power of calling things out into the world. And I don't think I fully shared with you how it started on my end. So I'm excited to actually have this first part of this conversation of kind of the unveiling of what actually happened in that first meeting. So for those of you who don't know, we did a season 1 of a podcast, and we were discussing wanting to do something more, something extra. And we were talking about wanting to do more short form, more reels, more things that could play back into our company. And I said to the team, I said, look, we're just going to start saying it out loud. We are going to hire someone for our company that can handle marketing and digital. Yeah. We're going to hire a full-time individual.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know who that person is. I don't know what they look like, where they're going to come from. I have no idea, but I'm just going to say it out loud. We're going to hire someone. So when we did our 4 things, we had a quarterly thing that we wanted to put and implement every single quarter. We actually put it for Q2 because we didn't think we would find someone in Q1. Yeah. So we were like, okay, we just want to have somebody in place by Q2. And I believe that's going to be a thing, but let's just keep talking. Yeah. Let's tell everybody, let's start talking to everybody. And I wanted to put it out there into the world. And no less than like 2, maybe 3 weeks later, I was on Instagram and I saw one of your videos, and I remember my buddy Chad saying that he came in here and shot as a guest with the Spark Talent podcast.
Yeah.
And he goes, EJ did it with him. And I said, I know EJ.
Yep.
And I said, I haven't talked to EJ in a while. And secondarily, I had been really, really being pulled to wanting and needing more, we'll call it positive spiritual mentorship in my life. Yeah. I was needing those good people, to surround myself with better people. And I was like, EJ's someone I haven't really connected deep enough with.
Mm-hmm.
I've always looked up to you. I've listened to you. For those who don't know as well, EJ was a pastor for how long? Still is. I'm still going to call you a pastor whether you want to or not.
I still get, hey, Pastor EJ all the time, right? But full-time ministry for 15 plus years. Yeah. All over, Metro Detroit and then the country.
Yeah.
That's how we first connected.
That's how we first connected was through the church.
Yeah.
And first connected from me hearing you in the pulpit and then occasionally seeing you at the coffee shop.
Yeah.
Right. So chit chat at the coffee shop, get to know each other, chat through life in passing, but never in depth. And so when I texted you, it was because I was just wanting to connect with you as a person.
Right.
It actually, I hadn't gone there on the idea of this yet. My brain wasn't even there. And we sat down and you told me a story And so I'm sitting there just trying to connect with someone that I feel could be good for my life. I didn't know why yet. I don't even really know if you think through like the craziness of how that happened. Like, talk about life just putting things in your path and then opening up to the idea of listening.
Yeah.
So we go and we meet at Desert Oasis in Rochester, which is usually where we meet. And we sat and had a conversation. So tell me and update everyone that's listening on kind of how that went from your perspective. Because now I brought you up to date on where I was at that time. Let's have you talk about kind of that, what led up to that.
Yeah. Well, first off, Kevin, one, thanks for having me on.
Mm-hmm.
It's humbling, right? For so many years, I spent time in front of the camera, and now with an amazing team here at Bolt, we're, spending more time behind the camera. But even the words you start with, they're just humbling to me. And I'm really blessed just to be sitting here with you. And I think that feeling is mutual, right? Like when you're growing a business and it's growing super fast, you have that opportunity to go, okay, I can take any client. Like, your team's knocking it out of the park. You're doing all those things, but you and we're both people. Like, we love people.
Love that. People's people.
But we also want to surround ourselves with the right people. So I was really in this section of growing our business of going, I want the right clients. I want the right people that we're working with. And thankfully, because of the growth and acceleration that we were having, I got to be a little bit choosy, right? And not every meeting, if a client says yes, do we want to say yes? So, we sat down and life had changed pretty drastically for me and my family. And there was a number of different reasons for that. You alluded, I was a pastor, still, pastor at heart. I don't think you ever lose that calling. But I was at an absolutely phenomenal church, large multi-site church, 15,000 people. And I had the opportunity through, God's grace, by all means, to lead at a very high level of there. And, there was a pretty good, series of events that led us to a place where we just decided to mutually part ways. And it was really a season of just searching. Now, the blessing that I'd had even before I was pastoring at that church is I was traveling all around the country speaking at really big events, 5, 10, 25, 35,000, teenagers, college students, that type of thing. And at one point, 200 plus days a year, stadiums and massive youth
200, that's a lot of travel. You've got some air miles saved up.
Believe me, Delta and
Your
I were great friends.
Is on lock.
I always joke, I could walk into the airport. I knew, I was going to go from the check-in to TSA pre-check into the Sky Club. I was going to have these cheese and crackers, this drink, when
the bartender and the people in the Sky Club know your name and you can walk in and they're giving you a hug, you spend a lot of time in airports.
Or you get pissed off that the seat, we're in Metro Detroit, right? The seat that you like to sit at in Concourse A, so you can see people walking.
Well, that's my favorite one because me and you are similar. I like to people watch, so I like to sit out and just watch the people come by. One of my favorite things to do. And just to warn everybody out there, you're going to see some tangents today because that's kind of how mine and EJ's brains work. Yeah. Don't worry, we're always going to circle it back because we're pros. But myself and Molly, who works for me, she'll be on the show here sometime soon. I can't wait to introduce everybody to her. But she, we sat up in the airport once, one of the first times we traveled together, and she's like, "What's going on with that guy down there?" And I made up a story. And then so did she. And so we were making up stories about what was going on with people. And I made up the story about this guy. And I was like, he's retired. He's going on a fishing trip with all of his friends. And it turned into the goofiest game ever. And now every time I go to the airport, I'm like, I'm going to test my friends, see if they can play this game off the spot with me. But that's the spot. The window seat adult is the spot.
Yeah. So, I I was traveling so much. Finally, my wife looked at me one day and she's like, can we just kind of settle down a little bit? And, like, I don't love that you're on these tour buses and all, like it was just a lot, but it was also amazing, and that led me to kind of not traveling as much. I probably cut it down to 75 or 100 days, 20 or 30 events a year.
Cut it down.
And
really trimmed it.
Just leading alongside at the local church of this amazing team.
Yeah.
And you got to experience that firsthand. You were a member at that church for, a long time. And
we attended there for quite a while. And loved it.
Yeah. And, I had this amazing team. And when that transition kind of came to light, it was like, okay, am I going to just go and speak full time again? Which, I could have done.
Mm-hmm.
Or is there something else? And I had a connection, also a member of that church that was super successful. And I connected with him, and, his name's Aaron. He owns this amazing staffing and recruiting company. And they had, 6 basically companies within the portfolio. And I went in, and I remember it to this day. I sat down with Aaron and I said, hey, I'm going to be making a transition. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do next. I have all these ideas. What with you being in this world, do you think you could see me doing? And I remember him saying to me, like, EJ, we've been trying to do this, like start basically like an internal marketing agency and then transition it to external for years, but we haven't had the person. You would be like perfect at this. Will you go home and pray about it? And
you came for advice from a friend and a trusted advisor and somebody in a space that you knew would know what to do.
Yeah.
And that went from give me advice to let's partner on a company.
Yeah, let's look at this.
Yeah. Weird that you just listened to the world and picked up the phone and started with great people.
Yeah.
And the people that you've networked with and the people that you've got to know.
Yep.
You started there.
Yeah. And, part of that, in that conversation was like, hey, we have basically this document that we've been dreaming about. Will you go home this weekend and will you then, put together some of your ideas, what we would do? It was like they had 5 pages. I had 5 or 6 pages, and it was like a 90% match, right? It was like, okay, here we go. So we made the decision to start Bolt. And, one of the greatest things about Aaron is he's just a phenomenal businessman.
He's got an incredible mind for business.
Yeah.
And the way his mind works and the way it ticks and the way he views, like, you telling me about the family of companies and how he's vertically integrated. Like, man, you get into stuff like that. He's very, very intelligent. And very good at it. And
because of that, the companies that he's a part of and he leads continues to just grow and grow.
Yeah.
And, part of that story was they were expanding some office space. And as that was happening, he was like, hey, we could potentially build out a studio. Will you invest some in this? I'll invest some of this and let's start, a company. So
it looks pretty good in here.
Yeah. It turned out great. And there's already, I don't want to leak anything too big, but there's already, expansion plans in the works with that. And we just started, and it has grown and grown and grown. And, Kevin, I'll say this, and I know you have just a huge following because of your network. When we started Bolt, it wasn't necessarily for me the fear of failing, because I had been wildly successful. What happened was it was the fear of people watching me fail.
Ooh. Oh.
That started to kind of make make me uneasy. And like, if you're watching, I'll just say this again. It wasn't the fear of failing. It was the fear of people watching me fail. And the reason I say that is because you go from leading, again, with an amazing team. It wasn't just me, a church of 5,000 people, to a, hey, I'm going to start this on my own.
Mm-hmm.
I have great business partners, but what if all these people who have been watching me be wildly successful, not under my own power, it was under God's power. I want to clarify that. But what if I fail? And that was freaking scary. And that's part of the reason why with Bolt, I want to do it with the right people. And I know I'm the guest right now, which again, I'm humbled by, but like, have you had that feeling?
Well, it's funny that you're sitting here saying that because, and for everyone that's watching, we haven't had this conversation before. I just heard that for the first time. I mean,
we didn't even do show notes.
No, we didn't. Like everything's popping off right now because I can't, it's such a cool story to hear. Yeah. And it's a vulnerable thing to share. And the vulnerability in that, I hope people can feel the way I felt it. And that's what I'm saying, like spidey senses. I'm sitting here going, holy cow, the depth of that, because I felt it dozens of times over my career of making this decision, going here, shifting here, and knowing that as you get bigger and as you get more seen, there's more people that aren't only potentially going to be disappointed if you fail, but there's some people that are waiting for you to fail.
Yeah.
There is people that want you to fall flat on their face. Why the world believes that and wants that, I have no idea. I can tell you, I desperately want my friends to succeed. I can't wait to celebrate with them when they succeed. Anyone who doesn't want the people around them to be successful, I question them as humans. But unfortunately, we're in a world where people are waiting for people to fall on their face. They're waiting for leaders to fall on their face, probably because they want to feel okay about themselves.
Yeah.
They see someone like you that they've seen on stage, that they've heard do great things, and they feel that if somehow you were to fail, they're not such a failure. And it's not that they're bad and mean people. It's because that's the human nature that unfortunately they have inside them. And you live in a glass box. I live in a glass box. And there's plenty of people that when I have failed have looked at me and been like, yep, that makes sense. I was waiting for that. And that's a hard pill to swallow. So even doing this, I think part of the reason that, I only went so far doing it in season 1 is because of the same thing.
Yeah.
There was a similar feeling of the sense of, well, what if it doesn't work? Or what if nobody listens? Or what if it doesn't matter? What's the point? And those are real fears and those are real things. And so that resonates really strongly with me because I think anyone who's done anything that really matters has felt that feeling.
Yeah.
So you need to understand it's normal.
Yeah. And let me flip that on its head a little bit, because I believe that you went out, you got your webcam, you got your microphone, you worked with your amazing team, right? Like, people probably know Kevin's the top-notch guy, so he brings in the top-notch people, right? And you went as far as you could, because there's something inside of, and I'll qualify this, guys like you and me, where you're like, I can help people. I can share stories. I can remind people that there is hope. There is joy. Like you can live in this sense that like, I've got to get this out of me. And I truly believe that after we had that coffee conversation, it was like, I could see it in your eyes, like from a business standpoint, I'm like, he's in.
Yeah.
And I want to be in, right? Because I want to do business with Kevin. I want to help him with this. because you're like, I've got to get this out of me.
Mm-hmm.
I've got to be able to do this. You have Beyond Bricks, you have the real Kevin Stewart, you have Stewart Real, our realty team. I obviously have Bolt. My personal branding stuff is called Live for the Moment, where, I talk about faith, I talk about leadership, and something that I'm just wildly trying to grow in right now, which is parenting.
Ooh.
But I need that because I know that God has put something inside of me to do that. I may pivot from Live for the Moment. There's this guy, and I don't know if you've ever seen him online. And I wish I would have done some pre-show notes, but this is just free flowing.
I like it.
There's this guy, I think it's like Russ gives bad news or Ron gives bad news, whatever. And what he does is like people pay him. Like, those people, like you can get
to give bad news,
like the telling, like they come in, they dress up as like a flower and it's like, happy birthday. Right. Like they pay this guy to call people up and just say, hey, this is, Russ gives bad news. And, our team, we'll drop the link in the show notes of this. And he's like, hey, I just want you to know that you need to stop bringing chicken curry for lunch because it smells up the whole office and everybody's pissed about it.
That's absolutely
and, you
genius.
can just he's on camera, but you can see everybody else's reaction. Like you can just feel it. But here's where I'm going with that. I kind of want to do the opposite of that. So this is me pontificating a little bit. One of the things I love to do, Kevin, is just encourage people.
Yeah.
So I think I may behind the scenes again, because at Bolt, we just have this Chris on our team is a phenom. Like if I say, Chris, I want to do this, he's like, yeah, let's do it.
We're going to get him on the camera eventually.
Yeah. So what I think I want to do, and I'm going to look past my camera over to Chris, who's at all the control centers.
He's the guy in charge right now.
EJ, please don't do this.
Yeah, he's the fully behind the scenes guy.
Don't give me another thing.
Absolute superstar behind a camera.
This is you guys, hold on. He's
turning red right now.
To hit the dump button. Like he's going to delete this right now.
He's like, I will do it.
My mic. I just want to do encouraging calls with EJ. And here's what I want to do. I want guys like you. I want people like, Adriana on your team or Molly on your team or Dom, who's one of my business partners, or Aaron, to just give me a list of people that they want to encourage. And then I want to double down on it. So I want Kevin to call me up. And as you call me up, it's like, give me somebody who you think would love encouragement right now. Just name whatever.
Molly. Let's say Molly.
Okay, so Molly. We both know Molly. And Molly, you're going to watch this. You are going to get on camera because you're a rock star. And I believe in you. And you would say to Molly, or you'd say to me, hey, I think Molly needs to be encouraged that she is a rock star, that we as a team at Stewart Realty do believe in her, that her business is growing substantially. And EJ, will you call and encourage her? And what I want to do is I want to just get on the phone. Hey, this is, EJ from Encouraging with EJ. And I want to tell you that the Stewart Realty team wants to encourage you. And here's how they want to encourage you. And then I want to take it a step further because I'm going to ask them this question. How do you feel that you want to be encouraged today? Because Kevin, all of us, honestly, within us, we know we need some level of encouragement.
Everybody does.
So I'll be vulnerable and I'll say this. We've had a massive week at Bolt. It was unreal. We rebranded a company. They're launching an amazing new site. We had a massive podcast to drop where the talent did a great job, but it took some extra time for our team.
Yep.
we had this phenomenal event here live in studio where we were broadcasting to thousands of people.
Awesome.
One of the coolest things. And our team, this was one of those 70-hour, 80-hour work weeks.
Hammer.
Bro, I'm tired right now. I'm so tired. And I need to be encouraged that all the hard work that our team is putting in is going to yield dividends. I know that within me. I know I need to be encouraged. And what I want to do is I just want to ask people that question and then encourage them.
Well, I think everybody, you just said it, everybody needs that. Everybody needs that sense of hope.
Yeah.
So I call it the creation of hope. Is you need someone that can breathe hope into your life, that can tell you you're doing a good job, that can tell you that the things you're doing matter, that the pieces of your life are important to this world. You've heard me say it in every episode, but go be yourself because the world needs it.
Yeah.
Like that has resonated with me forever because everybody defines success differently. Everybody defines their abilities differently. But how often do we have someone come to us and say the abilities you have matter?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people in this world that I think don't do certain things because no one's ever told them that it mattered.
Right.
And I think that's a problem. I think that's an inherent difficulty in the world. And that's part of wanting to do this show is I want to find ways to help people realize that they freaking matter.
Yeah.
That the things that they do in this world matter and that they have the ability to do significantly more than they've ever thought or imagined.
Yeah.
They have more in them. They just have to decide to give it a whirl. Mm-hmm. Right. So this show is I have to get it out of me. That's the part that I got to get out of me.
Yeah. So but even in that, it's funny, season 2 of Beyond the Bricks launches a couple of weeks ago, dropped the first episode. It's out there. And I'm like, hey, Kevin, day 1, you had 100 and I don't remember if it was 112 or 122
We're
downloads.
Texting late at night. You're literally
this is like 9:30.
9:30 at night.
Yeah. And Kevin responds to me, you guys. He's like, "Is that good?" To which I responded, "Yeah, Kevin. Last year, as you were starting to get this out of you, you had like 8 or 10 downloads.
Yeah.
You just grew 1,000%
in one day.
In one day, Kevin. Yes, that's good. But here's what I love about you, and you know where I'm going to go with this.
100%.
The next thing he sends is, okay, great. How do we get 1,000 downloads in the first day? How do we get 10,000 downloads in the first day?" And I'm like, Kevin, slow down a second. Like,
and I'm sitting here going, no, how do we speed the train up? What do we do next?
Yeah, our team at Bolt is really freaking good, but we got to kind of pace this thing out. To kind of wrap up that thought, because I'm sure you'll go somewhere else with this conversation. Like, Bolt has been such a blessing to start, and we're helping some really neat people do some really neat things. And one of the analogies that I use with Bolt all the time is like the thought of using our iPhone versus using $100,000 worth of camera equipment. Technology has just boosted itself wildly. Like, we all know that.
Yeah.
You can go on portrait mode. You can go in cinematic mode. You can go online and buy a Bluetooth microphone. Like, we can all do that, especially good business people. The difference of what Bolt brings right now is, one, you have a team of seasoned people who are, one, I'll just say it, creative geniuses. 2, they're wildly talented. Like, and what they do is they take what entrepreneurs, what business leaders, what CEOs, what people who are fully capable of doing these type of things, and they just multiply it. And this is the illustration I give. Every good pastor gives illustrations. So here you go. Like, if you're out at, let's use this example, your kid's first concert, Nico Moon, right? Is that who it was?
Nico.
Which I still haven't listened to the music. I need to.
Gotcha.
Chris and I, after the first episode, I was like, what was that guy's name again? We should put that on, in the studio. You captured a moment with your son.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. And technology allows us to do that now. But if right now your sweet wife were to say to you, hey, we need to hang a new photo up on the wall in the living room of our family, right? I highly doubt she would say to you, so Kevin, go get a microfiber and make sure the lens on your iPhone is cleaned off.
Yeah, right.
That's not the moment that you would use your iPhone for.
No.
It's the same thing with content creation. It's the same thing with producing stuff. When you're a high level person, entrepreneur, you have a successful business, that type of thing, you don't use your iPhone anymore. There's times for it, yeah. But you hire the professionals. And that's what we do. And that's where Bolt continues to just accelerate and crush. We go from the illustration of, yeah, hey, this is EJ from Bolt. We're doing a great job, to multi-camera, prime lenses, duplicity of, we have podcast mics to microphones on the top of every single mic as a redundancy. We go from shooting in 1080 to 4K. We go from, hey, this is the color that comes out, and these are the 6 iPhone filters, to a team that can color grade every single shot to perfection. And that's where you go, Kevin, from 6 downloads to immediately hundreds, because you've put yourself into the big leagues.
Well, and that's why this is already working well, because I needed somebody that could tell me what I didn't know.
Yeah.
I was blown away the first day. I knew you guys were going to come in with some cool stuff because I'd been in the studio before. Right. I had no idea the level of equipment that was going to be in my office on day one. I was like taking pictures going, dude, this is super cool. Yeah. I mean, the hidden microphones,
right?
Like, it's like trying to find the hidden microphones all over. Like, how cool was that?
Yeah.
Just because it's backups for backups for backups. It's making sure that if last thing you want is to shoot an episode and be like, well, technology failed, can you try to do it again? And for someone like myself,
it happens. I'll say it.
It does. But for someone like myself who doesn't really like the double take,
right?
I warned you about that early.
Yep.
But you've then also challenged me. We've had some videos where you've come over and been like, your wording at the end of that didn't land right. You fumbled this, and it's picky, but can you give it another shot? And then I'm like deep breathing going, we're going to give it a whirl. And it's worked out. And all of the shoots at the end, I've been able to look at those videos and go, yeah, EJ was right.
Right.
Having that second set of ears and the professionals behind the camera that are looking and saying, double check that. You can do better. Challenging me to be better, and not just saying, oh, let's just fly by the seat of our pants, but let's be intentional with what we're doing, how we're doing it, what we're saying, and what we want the world to know about us.
Yeah.
What do we want the world to know about our companies? What do we want the world to know about the podcast? What do we want them to know about Stewart Team? What is the message that we want to put out there in the world? And having a strategic partner that can work through that with us is super important. So you touched on this a little bit ago, because back to the conversation in the coffee shop, right? Yeah. So you're telling me about Bolt and what you're doing. And I'm sitting here, you're also telling me about the stuff going on in the church. There's an eerie side to this for those that don't know, is myself and Sarah were considering trying a new church.
Yeah.
And we had a group of friends that were attending that congregation that were really telling us, hey, you should come with us. You'd enjoy this.
Yep.
And I had said to Sarah, I'm not kidding you. Like, this is weird. I said to Sarah, I wish that EJ was at that church. I said, that would be cool. And we sit down and we're in conversation. I don't know if you remember the look on my face, but you said, we ended up switching congregations. This is where we've been going.
Yeah.
I almost fell out of my chair.
Yeah.
Because what it did is it affirmed for me that we were being pulled to the right place.
Mm-hmm.
And then it affirmed for me as well that I was sitting with the right person. And it's little nuances like that of just listening and saying, where is the world taking me?
Yeah.
And where am I supposed to go next? And knowing that you're being pulled into the right space, that was very important for me. And as the conversation progressed of catch me up on life, it then progressed to, this is what I'm doing. And then the immediate affirmation in my brain of, well, I thought that was second quarter, but I guess we're going to do this now.
Yeah.
And immediately going back to my mentorship, going back to the individuals that I call on these decisions and them going, this is a no-brainer for you.
Right.
Like, I get that you're nervous. I get that you're scared. I get that you may feel it's not the right time. There's 100 excuses you could give yourself to not do this, but maybe give yourself the most important excuse of why you should, which is you're called to do it.
Mm-hmm.
You're meant to do it. And you've been called to do stuff like this. And this is what brings me energy. I've said to my team, and I've said to a lot of the people around me, for the first time in a really long time, I know I'm on the right path.
Yeah.
I know I'm doing the right things. I don't know where they're going to go yet.
Mm-hmm.
I have ideas of where I'd like them to go.
Yeah.
I have ideas of what I'd like it to look like. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on what I can do now, which is to continue to provide value at a super high level and give it all away.
Yeah.
Give away everything I've got. And whatever comes back to me will come back to me. But if I can give first, eventually, I believe that something will come back. I believe that's the way the world works. And watching the puzzle pieces fall into place and connecting with you to do this is one of those affirmations that says I'm doing the right thing, because we landed in a place that I'm super happy with. And the products that we're already delivering, I feel, are at super high level and super high quality. And it's one of those things where I think we're going to look back years from now and go, whew, we didn't even know it was going to go here, but that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Right. And you can look back and say the little shifts and the small things and the decisions to scale from here to go from here to there then led you to a different path. How can you now, affect people on a different level?
Yeah.
What does that look like? You went from speaking to, like you said, 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 teens and individuals in churches, which is a great thing to do.
Yeah.
But now if you produce with the right people, you have the opportunity to speak to millions.
Oh yeah.
And the kind of things that you can do by just supporting other great people with the talents that you've been given is taking what you've done and taking it to a whole new level. And your opportunities will still be there to be a part of it, because there's no way that this will be the last time we're sitting on this show talking.
Right.
And I know most of the other individuals that have hired you guys have had you on their show as well.
Yep.
That's for a reason.
Yeah.
Because you're talented and you know how to do it. And that is important. So it affirms back to you that you're on the right path as well.
Yeah.
And when you start getting and living into those spaces, some really cool stuff can happen.
Yeah. I think the mix between pastoring in the past, and I'm still pastoring, I'm still speaking at some amazing events and things like that. God's afforded me that. I'm so excited right now because I get to take the mirror, Kevin, and I get to instead of making sure I'm ready to go for an event and, looking at the mirror and, telling myself you got this, God's with you, all the affirmations that I know from scripture, you get to take that mirror and I get to turn it on other people. And here's what I've seen with you, even in the last, let's call it 6 weeks. In the book of Ephesians, it talks about being fully alive in Christ. Okay. And what the scripture's talking about there is that when you're serving, when you're doing what God has called you to do, you're fully alive. And people, as they search that, sometimes, I'll go even further, is most of the times what people need is they need the mirror turned towards them, and they need someone to reaffirm what they're doing and then go from there. And I'll give you another quote within that. One of my favorite quotes of all time. It's from a guy. His name's Bob Goff. He's written a bunch of different books. He is this unreal, massive lawyer. Okay. And when I say lawyer, he was the U.S. general consulate to Uganda, was fighting all of these absolutely unhumane, things that were happening. And, in one of his books, he says this, and I may mess up the quote, even though it's one of my favorites. There are things that we do, and there are things that we are made to do.
Ooh.
Not my quote, is Bob Goff. And then he goes on further and explains it. And he says this. He says, for most of us, we spend the vast majority of our lives doing things until we figure out what we're made to do. Now, you and I are both believers. We have a relationship with Jesus. So that being made to do something It's figuring out what God made us to do. Now, I also get that not everybody on the watching the podcast or listening on, one of the channels may have that same type of relationship. And they may believe differently about that. But a lot of us, Kevin, what we go throughout our day-to-day lives doing is figuring out what we're made to do. And even as I'm saying that, maybe that's that feeling inside of us of like, I've got to get this out. My real estate agency that is doing great. It's what I'm doing. Is that what I'm really made to do? Is the bottom line of that, like, is that what I'm really made to do? And I feel like what's happening with Bolt right now is as people are figuring that out, our team's turning the mirror and helping people do that. Now, for business, some people are made to be the best CPA in Atlanta, Georgia. I believe that. Mm-hmm. Some people are made to be the best ER doctor or nurse or volleyball coach or those type of things. There's a process in that. And feel like all this background that I've had, speaking in front of people, encouraging people, even burying people, marrying people, that's part of pastoring, mm-hmm. has now given me this opportunity to refine potentially what I'm made to do by then encouraging and bringing a great team around people like you to help them do what they're absolutely made to do. And as we sort that out and as we figure that out, we come fully alive, like the book of Ephesians says. And we're like, this is what I'm made to do. I'm made to take my personality that can walk into in a room and connect with anybody, to then grow my real estate business, to then deliver on it because of the mind and the knowledge that I was given. Like, I know in just the short time working with you and other realtors and stuff like that, real estate isn't just putting a sign in the front yard. Like, you've got to be, you got to be smart to do that, but you also have to be personal. You also have to be able to network. You also have to be a good marketer. You also have to be a great leader. And like, we're just helping you do that right now. And I'm like, man, Bolt's wildly successful on the P&L, but it needs to grow, certainly. But right now, we're going to look back in 6 months, and I can tell you that Bolt's going to be wildly successful because Beyond Bricks, because, Stewart Realty, because you as a leader, you with your golf buddies, like, we were able to do that and help you be fully alive.
Well, and I love the analogy of being fully alive, and not even an analogy, it's just a reality.
Yes.
And I believe that it's a very large piece of truth that most people don't see, and they don't, maybe it's because they don't want to see it. I think that some people may listen to this and go, I'm not sure if I buy into that. Probably because they're not ready to do it themselves.
Certainly.
Probably because their fear, because there's a difference of not knowing or knowing, and then there's a difference of acting.
Yeah.
So acting on what you believe is your core purpose and the things that you're meant to do. I believe I'm meant for more than running a real estate brokerage. Yeah. I have said for a long time, I've said this for as long as I can remember, if at my funeral, if everyone's at my funeral and all they want to talk about is that I was pretty good at selling houses and I was, decent at running a company, and that's where the conversation ends, I have completely failed. I messed up my life. My life literally didn't mean anything. I need people. I don't even want real estate mentioned at my funeral, frankly. Like, if now maybe that's how I got to know him. That's how I was introduced. Sure. I met him because we called him because we wanted to sell our home, or I met him because I met him at a convention and I'm an agent in Canada.
Yeah, he coached me as I grew my real estate business.
Yeah. There's people that may be how I met them or how I connected to them. But if that's what they remember about me, again, I failed. because I want to be known for something significantly more valuable than that.
Yeah.
And the value that you bring into this world, that's where I believe I'm built for a huge purpose.
Yeah.
I've had that feeling since I was a kid.
Yep.
And I don't think I've even scratched the surface on what that potential is. And like I said, for the first time, I feel I'm now actively in the pursuit of finding that out. And I'm on phase 2 now, right? Truthfully, based on my age, I'm in the second half.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm in the second half. So now I get to go decide if I'm going to be a game that everybody forgets, or I'm going to be the Super Bowl everyone will talk about for the next 20 years.
Yeah.
What's my life going to be?
You need to pause right in this moment. And although you're talking to me, you need to rephrase that. Again, this is just me coaching you, because I'm going to clip the daylights out of that with the team. You need to look into that camera and you need to re-say that, because Kevin, that's the truth.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it is. It's I have to live into the fact that I want to be remembered for something great. I want to be remembered not as the person who just went out and played the game, that worked through the football game. I want to be the one that goes out that everyone remembers, the Super Bowl that everybody talks about for 20 years. That's what I want the second half to look like. Not just another game, not just another one that was like, well, I don't know who played. I don't remember who played. I want to be the person that they go, I will never forget that game for the rest of my life. I want that to be the game of my life. I want to be the one that's remembered forever. That's important to me. And I feel that I do. I like in my soul, I feel like my life is meant to be that big.
Yeah.
Like that's pressure. Like it gets me emotional because that's real pressure.
Yeah.
Like people don't understand that, but that's real pressure because it's hard to feel like you're doing enough. It's hard to feel like you're giving enough. Like I love the Batman. Batman junkie. You've seen it in my office. Yeah. Every day be yourself. Unless you can be Batman, then you should be Batman. There's the in the movie, the last one where he's with, it's the one against Bane. Okay. Right. And he's, she's Catwoman is leaving and he's saying, you've given them everything it has. He goes, I haven't given them enough. I haven't yet. And he's saying that he's going to go die. He's going to give his life for him. Yeah. That's what he's saying in the moment. He's saying, I'm going to give them everything I have. I haven't given enough yet. I haven't given them everything I have yet. And like that resonates to me because I feel like my life is meant to do something really important. And I probably will never know what that was. Yeah. That may not be seen till I'm gone. I believe, brought it in here today. Yeah. I don't think Kobe understood the mark he was going to leave on the world.
Oh, I agree.
I don't think he understood that. That's the mark he left on the world. Yeah. I don't think he's remembered for the basketball talent that he was. I think that's a part of his legacy. I think that his scoring titles and his, the stuff that he did for the Olympic team and the great stories that you've heard from players about him running through Pau Gasol, like those are all really neat. They're all clippable. Yeah. But the mentality and the person that he was in the definition of being the best person that he could be is the stamp he left. And he left the world in a really tragic way. Yeah. In an incredibly sad way. But he stamped what I believe is a legacy that will never die. He's the fourth quarter game that no one's going to forget. Yeah. And it had nothing to do with playing basketball.
The hair standing up on the back of my neck.
It had nothing to do with it. It had everything to do with clearly knowing what he was meant here to be or what he believed. He had a strong belief in never settling for who I am today. But I have to get better tomorrow. And he created this legacy mindset and stamped it on the world that now everyone's grabbed and gone, could do something with that.
I said this before, and I know I'm the guest. You want that feeling. I believe that. Like I have that too. What if there was a bullet point list for you? Like right now, as you're into that second stage, would like 3 or 4 of those bullets be now, like that they were to say? Okay. And I know I'm putting you on the spot. So I'll say this. 1, I had my dad had a massive heart attack at 58, passed away. He was my best friend, guys. But I want to be a great dad. I want my kids to someday when I go to heaven, go, man, my dad was the best. He loved me. He encouraged me. He yelled a bit more than he should have. He did everything he could for me. I would love for them to look over to my sweet bride, Abby, and go, man, Dad worked really hard. He always told us to honor and respect you. Because that's a rule in our house. They're not very good at it right now. My sweet Abby, I'm working on that for you. I want them to say, like, Dad loved you so much. I want people at my funeral, like you said, to go, I just loved being with EJ. There was something about him. He could always bring something out of me. He could always push me further. He always wanted the best for me or my team. He was always fighting for me to make more money or to get better at my craft, to build a better life. Like, I know there's a couple of those, at least in this season. Most importantly, I want everybody there to go, man, he loved the Lord. Do you have like 3 or 4 of those, at least right now, that you would say?
Off the top of my head, I mean, yeah, I wouldn't say necessarily like bullet pointed.
Yeah.
But same thing. I believe my children, they're the physical legacy of what I'm handing down into this world. Mm-hmm. We talked about that before the show started. We were talking about parenting and how important that is, and the things that you can instill and stamp down through your children, I think is very important. I want to be remembered by my children in a very, very positive light, and the people that are around my children to remember me in a positive light. So I love that. That'd be one that I would definitely say is a big legacy build for me. But I want to be remembered as someone who both created high value in everyone's lives. I want people to understand the value I created. If they look back and say my life was better because I knew Kevin, I'm doing something right. Yeah. It starts there. But I want it to be from the basis of positivity and joy, and someone who made me laugh, someone who I could laugh with, that every time I got together with Kevin, we had a good time. He was fun.
Yeah.
I will be remembered as someone who has fun. Mm-hmm. I'm not going out without having fun.
Right.
I can tell you that right now. Like, that is a core part of who I am. Yep. On my non-negotiables in my wall, all caps, have fun.
Yep.
Like, it's a rule in my office. If we're not having fun, we're not doing a good job. And I think that we get one pass at this world. I get one pass. I get one opportunity to go do the best that I can. And I'm going to do it having a whole lot of fun with a lot of smiles on my face.
Yeah.
Is it going to be perfect? No. Am I going to be perfect in that? No. But I want people to remember me as that individual that just made them happy.
Mm-hmm.
It's the positivity movement.
Yeah.
Someone that left that stamp. And then I want the world to remember me as someone who gave back to them, that handed something to them, whether it was something they learned from me, whether it was something that I physically gave to them, whether it was a contribution to their life, whether it was an opportunity, whether it was an introduction.
Mm-hmm.
I had years ago heard the statement, and you ever read any stuff from Garrett Gunderson?
I don't think so.
If you haven't, you should. Yeah. Garrett Gunderson is a financial guy by trade, but he very much lives into the do what brings you joy mindset.
Got it.
He's part of this movement that I'm trying to create. Mm-hmm. Guaranteed. He thinks this way. It's the way he works. He's a very polished public speaker in the financial world, but he's a comedian by trade. And so he started using comedy and started living into the person that he was and realizing he was focusing one place, but he wasn't being himself. And so he started becoming who he was. And then he watched everything fall into line perfectly.
Wow. Because
he spent a lot of time working on him.
Yeah.
And he lives into this mindset. And it's one I've heard for a long time, which is your network is your net worth. Mm-hmm. The worth and the value that you have is widely based on the network that you put yourself around.
Yeah, I've heard that.
And so I, for a long time and continue and will always live into the idea of being a quality connector. I want to be someone that introduces and brings introductions into people's lives that will help their lives. It may not be me that can help them, but doggone it, I'm hoping I know somebody else who can.
Yeah.
And I want to be that person. So I want to be remembered for that as well, because I feel like it's what I'm good at.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really good at connecting people. Yeah. I was honored years ago at Rochester, what's now Rochester Christian University. At the time was Rochester College, given an alumni.
Which my wife went there.
Yep.
I think you know that.
Yep. So was given a alumni of the year award.
Wow.
And Tom Rellinger, who was the senior vice president at the time, he's now interim president at the school, said a compliment that had never been said to me before. And it was just that. He said, we all know Kevin for different things, but he said, what I know Kevin for is someone who connects. He brings people together. Yeah. What he's really good at and what he's bringing to this school and what he's brought to the people that know him is the ability to connect with other people. And it was a compliment that I'll never forget. And I'm sitting there getting ready to go walk on stage and talk. And I was like, whew, like, what do you even say to that? Because it felt right. I heard it and I was like,
isn't that the best?
That's what I want to be known for. Like, he couldn't have said anything better, because it really made me go, oh man, maybe I'm doing something right. Yeah, without even really knowing it. It was so organic that it felt right. And so I've since then actually become conscious about it. I've been conscious of the fact that I am a very well networked people. Mm-hmm. I do know everybody.
Yeah.
Like it's, my wife jokes, she goes, we can't go to dinner anywhere. We can't go on vacation. You go to Florida, we go to anywhere. You're going to see 3 or 4 people, How does that happen?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just me being me. Right. And so that's a big piece of it as well. I want to be someone that's brings joy, brings strong personal connection to everyone around them, and then leaves a stamp and legacy through my children. So I think those 3 things, if you were to, off the top of my head, off the cuff, again, everybody, no rehearsal in this, not even notes. We don't have notes down here. We got
this was a text message 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Hey, I think I want to film in the studio. So-and-so is going to come in, and do you want to be on the podcast, EJ? I was like, if you really want me to.
And then texting like last night, like, okay, what should we talk about?
Like, yeah, I'll do it. Yeah.
But I think that this is why myself and you connect.
Yeah.
Like, as we're wrapping a bow around this, is that I believe that we were brought together for a purpose.
Yeah.
And I think that you feel the same way. I think we were brought together. Totally, we were brought together for a reason. We don't even necessarily know what that is yet. Yeah. And the lengths at which it's going to go, we'll see.
Yeah.
And we won't know until we know. But I do believe, I 100% believe we're going to look back one day and go, what a ride.
Yeah.
And we're going to see the world and the path will unfold later.
Mm-hmm.
But we're going to commit to going down the path together and saying, we're going to do this and build this life together, and this movement and these things, we're going to do them together and support each other along the way, because we match in our value set. Yeah. We match in who we are. We match in the way we approach the world and the way we approach people. And being in business and being in relationship with the right people, I have found, and I've already talked about in the podcast, is vital to the next phase of my life.
Yeah.
I don't want to do things with people that don't fit my mold anymore.
Yep.
I don't want it.
Yeah.
I don't want to have the people in my life that don't commit to positivity. Mm-hmm. If they don't commit to positivity, I'm out. Yeah. If they don't commit to being great, to being the best person, not good, not average, not someone who just walks through life, those people, I'll be there for them, but I'm not going to live life with them.
Yeah.
I have to live life with people who embrace being the best version of themselves and embrace greatness. And you do a really good job of that, because you hold yourself to a super high standard for the things that you've done and the things that you plan to do and are going to do. So the standards that you hold yourself to is inspirational as your friend and as now a business partner, to know that I'm doing things with the right people. You're another person that I can point to say, I'm doing this right because I'm doing it with the right people. And I know that through that, we're going to have the opportunity to create some pretty big waves in this world.
Yeah.
And some waves that people are going to remember and that they're going to look back. And now it's not just Kevin, it's Kevin and EJ. And I can do something and I can be a piece of your world and you get to be a piece of my world. And we can elevate what both of us do. And that's how we get out of this world remembered. That's how we get out of the fourth quarter. That's how the Super Bowl of our life is remembered forever, because we did it with the right people, with the right teammates.
Yeah.
So thank you again for being my friend. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to do this with you, because we're going to do some pretty great things.
Yeah. Kevin, I'm better today because of spending this time with you. And I'm so humbled
Love
to
it.
have been on the show. Thanks, man.
Guys, thank you for watching today. I really hope this was impactful for you. It was impactful for me. I believe it was impactful for EJ. I know it was for us. And I really hope that the conversation that you heard today resonates with you. If it did, I need you to do me a favor. I need you to share this. I need you to share our episodes. I need you to share, like, follow, and tell the people around your life about this. Because if we're going to create a positivity movement and we're going to do what I believe we're called to do, I think we all need some of this in our lives. And I want to impact more people, and I can do that because of you guys. So if you would do me a favor, share this with the people around you and put it out there into the world, because if we can get more people listening with a positive mindset, the world's going to be a better place. And just as always, as I'll always finish episodes, you have talents, you have things in your life that are super important. You're special, you matter, and you're going to do good things, but you have to go out in the world and be yourself, because the world needs you to be yourself. Have a good day, guys. Bye.